Before we begin, thank you very much to Big Convoy for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for the support. That support keeps me going, keeps the daily content coming, keeps the grind grinding. I do appreciate everyone who has been pitching in, means the world to me. If you'd like to do the same, get some shoutouts, get Discord access, maybe some review or video requests. Not just review, any video. So, that is in the Patreon link below in the description, if you feel so generous, and if you can. You know, times are tough for a lot of people. I don't expect anyone to go out of their way for me, just if you can, and you feel like it. But, that all out of the way, welcome to the 2025 Transformers Toy Awards. So, on the 31st, we are going to be doing the top 10 Transformer toys of 2025. But top 10s generally tend to leave out a lot of toys that deserve some level of recognition, but for one reason or another, they're just never going to end up on anyone's top 10 list. That's what we're here to fix today. I have an assortment of awards I am going to be handing out to very credible toys that came out this year, but may or may not have actually made my top 10. So, simple as that, we're basically doing subcategories before the main event at the end of the year. And we're going to begin with the most simple of awards I can give out, which is the best repaint. Now, this is for straight up repainted toys. This is not retools, new head, no nothing. It's just straight up which toy just got a brand new color scheme and looks really, really nice. Granted, we actually don't get a lot of these anymore. Almost everything now has a pre-tooled head to switch to when they do a repaint, meaning it's a little bit thinner of a category than it would have been in past years. And for this one, the award is going to Cybertron Excellion. I really had a few options in mind. I really kind of wanted it to go to the big Age of the Primes Trypticon, because that's a gorgeous looking toy in the cartoon accurate black. But I cannot deny this thing. Aside from just a really nice homage to a Cybertron toy, it's just gorgeous. Like, that mold is so good. It is designed from the get-go to invoke Hot Rod. From the pipes that are hidden inside the door arms to the fins on the back, it is supposed to be a loose version of Cybertron Hot Rod, or no, just normal like G1 Hot Rod, but as a Cybertron toy. The blue always looks great. The red brings out the Hot Rod details. However, they don't go too far. It's the same old head that Hotshot had. They use a lot more gray, especially in the midsection of the toy, than Hot Rod uses. Meaning he still strikes his own identity while still paying homage to his predecessor. And it's a brilliant looking color scheme on that toy. Works very, very well. And most importantly, and the biggest thing any repaint should do, does a fantastic job separating him out from Hotshot. You know, I can see the shape, but I don't see like Hotshot in there. It doesn't look like him in a new set of clothes. So, gorgeous repaint. Thrilled that they did it. Love me some Cybertron love, especially Western Cybertron love, because Excellion's never in the cartoon. And if we do best repaint, then naturally following should be the best retool. Now, this, on the other hand, has a lot of potentials. Hasbro's become exceptionally clever when it comes to their retooling game. You know, you can get an entire, like, four-legged monster, of a bull out of a crocodile. So, this gave me plenty of options. There's so many I could have picked from here. But I think the one that impressed me the most, and just turned out to be, like, a fairly fun and interesting toy, was the collaborative Naruto figure. This used to be Cheetor. And you can see the similarities in there. You can see the original parts, but the tooling and the reshift of everything in that toy is so extensive that Cheetor all but vanishes. And you are left with Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, who in beast mode looks phenomenal. Like, you know, if you're a Naruto fan, here's the thing. I'm not even a Naruto fan, but I can appreciate how much work went into turning that Cheetor into a nine-tailed fox. And can we just mention, as a weird little side note, this is the first time we've ever had a fox transformer. Doesn't it feel weird? We went through the entirety of the Beast Wars, never had a fox. It's a missed opportunity, isn't it? Man, you could have gotten some cool toys out of a fox. Oh well. We got one now, and it's an anime homage. All right, cool. Again, it just looks really, really nice, and it's an extensively done retooling that does a great job of converting a cheetah into a mythical fox. So, good job. It deserves a nod. Again, this is all entirely subjective. There's fantastic retools out there. It almost was horrible, but this one felt like it was a farther departure from the original, and that gives it just a little bit more points. Let's go to most surprising toy. The toy that caught everyone off guard of like, this really shouldn't be as good as it is. This really should not have turned out the way it did. And I don't think there is a single other toy that could have gone in this one. Your winner for most surprising toy is Earthspark's Soundwave. I mean, surprising in that it's become the rarest toy of the year, and it commands incredibly absurd prices on the aftermarket now. But also, this is just a really dead solid toy. Like, for what you expect to get out of an Earthspark Deluxe, it's fantastic. The articulation is good. The look of it is good. There's just enough paint to really get him to, sing as a figure. And then you have this really, really nice transformation into a flying wing stealth bomber, and it looks great. Like, this hits so many good notes, and there's like very little to really argue about. Oh, well, his wings are kind of like sticking out the back of his leg. I don't care. It's a phenomenal looking toy. It's a phenomenal looking toy that kind of makes me want Soundwave to be a stealth bomber more often. Absolutely great figure. Now we do know that Hasbro is going to be doing their new, what was it called? Like, they have a new generic run of figures that is including a lot of Cyberverse repaints. And trust me, like, it's basically replacing the spot on the shelf that Earthspark is currently taking up. I would not be surprised in the least if Soundwave didn't make it back there eventually. It's probably where Cosmos and Spitfire are eventually going to get released as well. So keep an eye out. I don't think you've seen the last of this mold. Hasbro probably sees the $300 asking price on eBay this thing has. They'll take advantage of that. They'll get it out another way somehow. We are moving on to the most innovative toy, and this one's actually a really important one for me to include on this list for a very specific reason. Because we're talking innovation and just doing something new as a Transformer toy, this has to be Amalgamus Prime. This is described as Diaclone Reboot at Home, not as a slam, but just as this really reminds me of a really, really cool toy line I could usually never afford. So in this, you have an exceptionally different Transformer. The look is nothing like a Transformer has ever been. It's just a weird amalgamation of a whole bunch of robot parts. And then you basically take them apart and figure out what his alt mode is going to be for yourself. There's official ones, but it's way more fun to just figure out what can plug into where, what clips into what, and whoa, that actually looks like a really nice ship now. The reason I have to put him on this list, by all measures that I have heard, he should be on my top 10 of the year. Unfortunately, he will not feature on that list because, as of this recording, I have been completely unable to secure one. I have looked through like 5 different stores that I am currently able to reach. No one has had this guy in stock. I have not even seen a Wavemate in stock. I live in South Florida, where distribution is horrendous. We either have this one weird miracle where we're the first to have it, or we're waiting a month for everyone to catch up, and then maybe I might see it on a shelf. But no, I've heard this toy is phenomenal. I heard it's a lot of fun to mess with, and that's what we need in Transformers. We need different, we need weird, we need new. And this checks all of those boxes, so I've got to give it some kind of credit, even if I do not have it in hand right now. Moving on from him, we move on to the best female toy of the year. I feel bad for a lot of the female Transformer toys because it's very rare that they get to stand up to their male counterparts as far as like quality toy. Usually because they just don't have the mass, because they're trying to match these G1 character models, and or at least that G1 female aesthetic that a lot of the designs go toward. They end up having a lot less mass to work with, and they end up being something of an engineering struggle. You know, we've seen that in recent months with like Solus Prime, for instance, not really turning out the way we were hoping she would. Or you can point to Transformers 1 Elita 1. Didn't really turn out the way we wanted her to. But that said, sometimes you do get some really shining ones. And my award is going to KSI Widow. I did a review for this one, guys. I bought her on a whim. Just because, like, okay, it looks good. It felt right. I want to have something new to goof with. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on this one. It's Amazon 2-day. I'll have it, and I'll have it pretty quick. And I can just have something new to play with. I'm bored. I need something new on the way. And I was completely blown away. Like, she is so nice. She's not overly complicated like a lot of Studio Series toys need to be. She's got a lot of character in her sculpt. The paint job of the orange is actually a little bit rare amongst Transformers. So, like, I really like the overall look of the toy as well. She just feels nice and she plays nice. You know, it's been a long time since a movie versus Studio Series toy actually did anything for me. And this toy does things for me. So I give her a lot of credit. Very, very good toy. Shows what you can do with a female Transformer when you're not trying to overly feminize them. She's built the same way a normal male Transformer would be. She just has like feminine notes to her face. You know, that's basically the only thing setting her apart. And that's all you really need. You don't need to give them like the hourglass figure and the high heel feet. You know, you don't need to make their design a detriment to being a Transformer. KSI Widow kind of proves that you can do it, you know, the right way. So hopefully she is like the start of getting somewhere good, because yeah, she is a very, very good figure. Moving on from her, we have the best collaborative toy. Admittedly, there are collaborative toys good enough to make it to a top 10 of the year. But in this case, I wanted to give special note to one that I know for a fact is a really, really solid figure. But might not necessarily make my top 10, because I have different standards. I have different requirements for my top 10s. And that is going to the Mandalorian collaborative. If Star Wars Transformers were like this from the beginning, they would still be going on. It would be one of the longest running Transformer toy lines of all time, because you're putting really good Transformers as popular Star Wars vehicles, and Star Wars fans would have eaten them up for the last 2 decades. But we got what we got, so now we have to wait for little gems like this to pop up. Vehicle mode looks fantastic. I love the idea of the display stand that folds out into his cape into robot mode, so you can have him flying without having extra pieces falling around. The rest becoming a shield. That works fine for me. And just overall, just fantastic look. You know, like I can absolutely see the Mandalorian in the robot mode outside of just the head sculpt. It's a really, really solid figure. Really solid figure. You could tell they put a lot of effort into that one. Again, it's one of those where, like, if they ever do collaborative Star Wars again, this gives me faith. This gives me faith that they can do this one right. Now, let's move on to the best exclusive toy of the year. So this goes to anything that was only found at a Target, a Walmart, a Walgreens, a Hasbro Pulse, an Amazon, which means we have a ton to pick from because there were tons and tons of exclusives this year. The one that hit me the most, and the one that should be absolutely no surprise to anyone out there, is going to be Cybertron Sideways. The Age of the Primes version of the toy is everything that the original one was, plus a lot of really cool changes in functionality. He has ankle tilt and waist joint now, so he has full proper modern articulation. He still retains his blades, and he still retains his faction switch gimmick. And now the faction switch, granted, the cyber key does nothing. You plug it in the back, nothing happens. But when you actually have like a manual flip for that, that means you can leave him in Decepticon mode without the key installed, which is something the original toy couldn't do. That's actually really, really nice to have. You can also, manual also means that you can unfurl the blades without having to switch his faction to do it. That's also kind of cool. Beyond that, really, really solid figure. Has the functionality of the original one, including like the right down to the wing weapons and the modular positioning that you can put them in on wherever you want. And yeah, just overall amazing look. Still an amazing looking figure. Still an incredibly cool design. So to have it in full modern design, full modern engineering, absolutely fantastic. This is one of those where like I might troop build if they release like the generic version. If they release the white one, this like the mass production version, I'm in. I'm absolutely in. We're moving on to a special award now, and that is the Shelfwarmer Award. We are going to give special credit to a toy out there that spent most of its existence just basically keeping dust off of the furniture at your local store, because for whatever reason, it just did not click with the general audience. And this award goes to the one where I think that was the most unfair, because the toy is definitely not deserving of shelf warming. And I think that has to go to the new Age of the Primes Armada Red Alert. This is a really, really nice toy. Like, it does everything I would want from a modern version of Armada Red Alert. He's got the right size and bulk. His proportions are way better than the original toy. He still has his, like, flip-out gun feature and his swappable hand thing. The only thing missing, really, is a Minicon and a disc launcher. The Minicon we can argue about. I don't care about the disc launcher, though. I care about him being a really good, solid figure that's nice and animation accurate. And that's what they got. This is a really good toy. This is a really good toy. I was reminded of how nice this toy is when I picked up Flatline recently. And Flatline is, again, a really nice, good toy. So, the original really does deserve more credit than it gets. It didn't deserve a shelf warm, but yeah, you can find it all over the place, and that's upsetting. Him and Q are probably going to be found around stores for well into 2026. But this one certainly doesn't deserve it. He is worth your time. He is worth your money, especially if you can find him before all the stores hike the prices up. Good luck. All right, let's move on. We're going to move into the themes of the year, and there are two prevalent themes for Transformer toys. One of them is the 13 primes. We do not have all of them so far. However, we have enough where I'm confident in naming the best of the 13. Now, again, this is where not having Amalgamus in hand really hurts his odds, and I fully admit he should be very much in the running for the best. But of what I experienced and the ones I have and the overall general consensus, we're going to give it to Megatronus. I've wanted a proper, like a Dreamwave Fallen for so long. This comes the closest we're ever going to get. I love the hot metal aesthetic that the paint apps give it. It looks like an old cast iron oven, just permanently glowing from coal light. It looks incredible, and it plays incredible. Like, the transformation scheme on this is really, really good. And you have a really cool looking tank mode out of it as well. You know how silly we all feel now that when, like, for everyone who was calling that this was going to be 86 Megatron, yeah, you look kind of silly now. I never called that, by the way. No, if you're going to retool him into a Megatron, this got to be IDW, right? That seems obvious to me. That seems like the direction to go. New chest, new head, new forearm cannon, but, Megatron him. I would love that. I know a lot of people who would love that. Point being, fantastic figure. Fantastic figure. So far, my favorite of the 13. Even ahead of Star Optimus Prime, who I thought, for a Titan for $160, I really don't think it does enough to really satisfy me. He feels just like a normal figure that just happens to be really, really big. And I wanted other tricks to him that he didn't seem to have. The base mode, not impressive enough. So Megatronus gets the nod here, and we'll have to revisit this list once all 13 are out, and I can actually give Amalgamus his proper place. The other theme of the year was combiners. So we're going to have combiners for the foreseeable future in Transformers. We've already confirmed that they're going to do at least one a year. But we have several competing combiners this year that a lot of people went nuts over. So keeping in mind, these things are completely objective, and this is just, subjective, I should say. And this is just entirely based on my own personal preferences. My combiner of the year is Wild King Optimus Prime. So hear me out. Hear me out. You have aerial bots who are fine, but are always kind of boring to me because vehicle and robot wise, they're mostly the same. And transformation wise, they are mostly the same. I get kind of bored playing with them all at once because it feels exceptionally repetitive. And then you have like Silverbolt, who I don't think pulls off the solo commander thing nearly as good as Motormaster does. The big jump pack on the back of him does not do a whole lot for me when I have it in person. And its base mode is not nearly as good as Motormaster's. So I feel like it's not doing it enough. And just Superion and the aerial bots in general, not enough variety in the aerial bots to really do something for me. And then that brings up Devastator, the Constructicons, and that one gets cost prohibitive since it's 6 members and 2 of them are stuck at the Voyager price point because they need extra engineering. What I needed was some extra stuff to go with them. How about the drill weapons that came with the original toy? That would have been nice. For the most part, the Constructicons are generally fine. There's a few that are lacking compared to like a standard Transformer. And then Devastator himself is nice and solid. He looks good. Aside from I still think his legs are too stumpy. I still think he's a little bit gorilla proportioned, but not enough to be good aesthetically. Just enough to make me put off. I pick Wild King Optimus Prime mostly because it's fun. If you've got 4 energy beasts and you can really put them to use, you've got so many things you can do. It is a combining system that invites you to use your imagination and actually play with your stuff. Do you want the tails on the shoulders or do you want the dino heads? You can do either. Do you want do you want whip weapons or big like a Triceratops knuckle duster? You can do that. They are all scramble cities, so you can swap and combine them around. We have Thunderbeak and Sky Report, who can also become a flight pack for them. So that's robot mode, beast mode, arm mode, leg mode, flight pack mode. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I find it an incredibly engaging and fun play pattern. Even if the combiner and the toys themselves are not really comparable to a Studio Series or Generations toy. They are a budget toy line in Japan. But considering, in Japan, those prices would be absolutely fine, I have to take that into account too. Not the import price you have to pay to get them now. It's just a very, very fun system. It lends you to a lot of custom combination and custom transformation. It's so much play value. So much play value. And I could have put Megatron in here, but Optimus handles his extra parts better. So I have to give it to Optimus. Now, we'll move on to the budget toy line for America, and we'll name the best cyberworld toy. And if you've been watching Toycember, this is no surprise to you whatsoever. My best cyberworld toy is the armored Optimus Prime, or the off-road, depending on what the listing on the website says. Yeah, we did a whole video on this just to kind of show why it is so good. For $15 you get a normal cyberworld figure, which is fine-ish, but it's the weapon pack he comes with. Not only does it work for his heavier vehicle mode style, but both modes look really, really good. And the fact that the wings are 5mm ported and you have a bunch of 5mm ports to play with across the toy means you have a lot of little things you can do around it that give you variety, both in visual and imaginative play. If I'm reviewing or considering this as a toy line for kids, I have to factor in imaginative play, and this certainly does let you do that. So yeah, it's a fun figure for what it is. Maybe a little bit pricey for what it is, but that's just how toy economy works these days. Still, out of everything Cyberworld, this is the one I picked up the most, so I'm giving it all the credit in the world. And that takes us to the final award for the evening, and that is going to be the best high-end toy. My grading system for the top 10 is bang for your buck. I will say it a million times until it's buried in your head. The criteria is how good is it versus how much you pay to get it. But that means a lot of high-end Transformers typically don't make my lists. Like I said, Star Optimus Prime doesn't do enough for its price point. Guess what? He ain't gonna make my top 10 list this year. He's a Titan, and he's not going to be good enough for my top 10. So, this is a category just for the big expensive boys. And if this goes to anyone, this has to go to one set, and this comes with a caveat. Comes with a very large caveat. Your best high-end toy of the year is HasLab Omega Prime. The caveat is, if yours is intact, either you got lucky and yours never broke, or you're like me and you waited for the replacement Optimus Prime that had already had the slide block in his torso already sanded down before any of the internals broke. So that's the one I have to judge it on. And after several transformations on mine, nothing's cracked or stressed or broken. So I'm going to assume it's enough of a fix to get by. Where I know it's not satisfying for everybody, I personally think it should have had a little bit more work put in. But given that it's a made-to-order thing where the molds are probably already in deep storage, I'm not going to really argue. This really does feel like the best solution they could have gone with. So, given that very large caveat, this set is incredible. And you might be going but bang for your buck, it's a $250 set when it came out. Yes. However, it's basically 2 commanders in the same box, plus a deluxe, plus a whole bunch of extra stuff, like a gigantic sword and display platforms, which actually are kind of important for some of the poses you'd need that sword for. So, given all that, wrapping all that into one price point, you got $90 for a commander, $90 for a commander, you have $25 for a deluxe, so you're already up to $205 right there. And then you throw in the sword, you throw in the both of the platforms, you throw in a bunch of the other extras like your own little Cerebrus Titan Master. You do get to that $250 price point. I get to the point where this really does feel like what you should be paying for it. And the toy is phenomenal. Ultra Magnus is a huge improvement over the original toy, and then Optimus Prime does most everything the original toy does with the added extra articulation, modernization, conveniences like ankle tilts, just more secure connections on a lot of things, modern sensibility in the retro style toy. And that's what makes her a really, really good HasLab figure. The toy does a lot. The toy has a lot of play value. They both have a lot of play value. So this is what elevates them to bang for your buck. Whether that is enough of a bang to make it to my top 10 of the year, however, you will have to wait and see. For now, that is the end of my Transformers Toy Awards. Might be doing this annually. You never know. But for now, those are the ones that deserve special credit for what they accomplished this year. And you will have to wait until December 31st. I got ahead of myself. December 31st, we will be doing the top 10 toys of 2025. And I'll let you know what the best figures of the entire year actually were. So join me then, won't you? And for now, thank you for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.